welcome. I just want to have you guys each introduce yourself and briefly note your favorite product that your company sells, and it can't be a standing mixer. so there you go.
Hi again, everybody. My name's Mitch. I work for Whirlpool Corporation, and I manage all of the paid, owned, and earned for KitchenAid small appliances. There's a whole separate team that manages like refrigerators and dishwashers and stoves. So if you're like, refrigerators aren't working, don't talk to me about it. It's not my business. I can get you a discount if you want. We get great discounts. So if anybody's renovating, come see me. I would say my favorite product probably shifts with the quarter because we're constantly bringing new products to market. We just launched a whole new range of espresso machines, and like I'm obsessed with that now. We're launching a new stand mixer in like a month and a half that is like, pardon my language, really fucking cool. And I can't wait for that to come away.
Hi everybody, I'm Annica Conrad. I'm with City Barbecue based here in Columbus, 25-year-old barbecue chain. We have a little north of 70 units in about to be 10 states. Next week we'll be opening in Florida. So my favorite thing on the menu is the pulled chicken. It's served with the Alabama white sauce. I'm from Alabama, so definitely speaks to my inner redneck, and it's delicious. So if you haven't tried it, please visit a City Barbecue near you and do so.
I'll play the game too. For me, the red standing mixer, which we've had for 20 years, it's fabulous. A staple of our kitchen, and of course brisket for me. All fabulous.
Very popular.
Yeah, we had a pre-call not long ago, and in that pre-call, both of you discussed authenticity being at the core of your approach. I'd love to have each of you expand on that touchstone and how you approach that in your market. So.
Yeah, I think I talked about this a little bit, in the session this morning, and as a brand, like being able to connect emotionally with your consumer, you have to be authentic. So I talked about being able to deliver on product RTVs around performance and durability and power. But then I also touched on the idea of fame and badge appeal. And it's hard to deliver on fame and badge appeal without a really good product. So for us, being authentic and living up to who we are as a brand is consistently delivering the same results over and over, so that you can win consumers with their head, the functionality, the role that the product plays in their lives, and then the memories that are created around that comes the heart. And being able to do that consistently is really hard, especially when you're a global organization like KitchenAid. But when you can nail that formula and then continue to see the authenticity through the creative that you bring to market, through different consumer touch points around community, that's just, creates a swell of an authentic look and feel that consumers connect with.
Yeah, so I don't know about everybody else, but I feel like we've said this word so much today. I'm going to call it now the A word. I'm not going to say it out loud again. It's been said a lot. We'll talk about it just a little bit. For our brand, really, one of the biggest ways that we approach it is quite literal, really, in the food that we deliver, right? And so it's really important that we tell that story because we make our food in-house. We have a saying, once we open a location, our smokers literally never turn off. So we smoke on site, we smoke products, our brisket, we smoke for 18 hours a day. So we really have a lot of A word in our craft. And in the way that we deliver the food, so that's important for us to share. And then also as an organization, we have a lot of cultural A word. We have a couple of things that we do that I think really help our team to be able to bring that culture out forward to the guest. We have a couple of kind of brand guiding principles. And they're really intended maybe for the front line at the location, but we also use them in marketing. So we have a couple things that we talk about. One is, it's called a 95-5 rule. And it's something that our founder came up with. And he said, I think 95% of the people out there are honest. 5% are probably trying to steal from us, right? And they might come back in with their bag and say, I didn't get my sandwich, and they try to get one for free. But you know what? We're not going to penalize the 95 for the 5. So we're just going to take care of the 5, and we're not going to make everybody feel like a criminal because of the 5. And I say we use that in marketing. Sometimes we might think about offers, like should we gate them with a minimum purchase? And we say, you know what? That's a 95/5 rule. There's going to be a few people who just get the free item, but that's okay, right? We want our other loyal consumers to enjoy us. So that's one of the ways that we come and deliver on that. And then we have another one that's a $100 bill rule. And that says that anybody working at one of our joints can spend up to $100 on their shift to make a guest happy and make things right with the guest. So that really gives them freedom, so they don't have to go say, let me get my manager, I've got to avoid that. You know, that they can just be seamless in the way that they deal with consumers, and they can deliver that A word to the consumer. So a couple things there.
Very, very good, and I like the A word. I think that's okay. And we put this together before we knew everything
That's
coming.
right.
So another topic that did come up in our pre-call was weddings as a cultural/business topic. And I'll start with Annica, you on this one. How are weddings, part of the barbecue business, and how do you market to this segment?
Yes, it's really interesting. I was sharing with these guys, and I've only been with the organization just shy of 2 years. I was extremely surprised when I came on to understand that weddings were a big part of our business. And to give you a sense, out of 70 locations last year, we participated in almost 3,000 weddings. So a lot. And I say participated in, oftentimes we do cater the reception. We also might cater, rehearsal dinner, groom's lunch, something like that. But it's really important to us, and we actually do a pretty elevated catering. We can drop an aluminum pan if that's what you want, but we can do a carving station with someone in a chef's coat carving brisket, right, with a s'mores bar, and a lot of things that to me were very unheard of for a fast casual barbecue chain. I think that people would be surprised. So it's really important to us. It's also, quite frankly, one of the best marketing methods that we have if you think about the number of people that come through something like that, and the fact that someone would trust you with that day is really certainly a big stamp of credibility. So that's an important thing for us. Interestingly enough, we actually did no marketing for it until this year, which is really crazy. And so this year we started some fun things. We actually did something in the first quarter of the year, which was win a wedding. So we invited upcoming brides and grooms to sign up to win a free wedding catered by City Barbecue. We got literally many thousands of entries, and just raised awareness for the fact of what we do with weddings. So we think there's a lot of runway there, a lot more to talk about. So we're excited to actually, really delve into true marketing beyond just showing up at a bridal show, which maybe was what we did in the past. So we think there's a lot of opportunity to even be part of more weddings.
Yeah, weddings are pretty core to like the fabric of KitchenAid. I asked the question before, who got their stand mixer when they were married, right? A lot of people raised their hands. And when we think about like the role that KitchenAid can play in life's big moments, we can command a central role in many of those moments. You're getting married, you want to register for a stand mixer. You're moving into a new house, and you're going to renovate your kitchen, right? So like, let's buy a whole suite of appliances. Or let's say my food processor went kaput, so I'm in the market, going to buy one. And like that life moment is a distress signal, right? Something broke, so you're looking for something new. But a lot of those big moments are centered around large holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Labor Day, Memorial Day, or you're buying a stand mixer because you're preparing to host people at your home. But when we talk about weddings, that's big for us, and it's a natural habit, it's a natural consumption habit that we actually don't really prime the pump on all too much. We don't invest in a lot of like retail media or registry media. We do partner with some of our strategic retail partners with some of their registry initiatives, but it's not something that we are actively driving because it's already massive. And so we strategically spend our dollars elsewhere. And so then when we think about like cultural conversations and he's giggling because this is kind of a funny thing. We do a lot of social listening to try to understand what types of conversations KitchenAid can be in, right? Where do we have a right to play? Where do we have a right to interact with our consumers? And weddings being one of those, and I'm not going to poll the audience with this question, but what about divorces, right? You're probably thinking, what in the world does KitchenAid have to do with divorce? These are large volumes of conversations that we're seeing across many social media platforms where people are getting divorced and they're fighting over who gets the KitchenAid stand mixer, right? It's a part of their separation agreements because people want that machine because it's tied to that memory, it's tied to that occasion, or it's pretty and they want it, or it's functional and they use it all the time, but it has meaning. So talking about culture, like, is that a conversation we want to be in? Probably not. We're not going to throw divorce parties. Imagine those headlines. But that is, something where we're seeing it's an observation made through social listening, and it's a conversation we have tried to understand. Like, is there a space for us here? Then ultimately, like, our brand risk and brand safety come in, and we're like, no, we probably don't want to do that. Alarm bells are going off, so we move away. But it's those life's big moments where cultural moments and like fast-moving creative ideas can also propel your brand forward.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. It's clear that brand culture runs deep in both your companies. One area that I'd love to delve into, Annica, is how does City Barbecue use your Pitmaster program to sort of demonstrate and educate customers?
Yeah, so we actually have somebody, what you would probably consider a pitmaster in every one of our locations. Multiple people who know how to work a smoker, and they're trained on what we do and how we do it. But a few years ago, which predates me, I didn't have anything to do with it, but someone at the company launched what we now refer to internally as our pitmaster program, and it's actually a 9-month educational program that our team members can apply to be part of. And it really has nothing to do with teaching people the City Barbecue way of cooking. It's really a much, much, much deeper barbecue immersion in techniques, protein types, wood types. Like I said, it goes on for 9 months. We do some of the work with Ohio State. Some of the learning goes there. We have celebrity chefs come in, teach some of the classes. So it's really, really highly immersive, and it's just something that we do kind of as a value add for our people who are really interested in next leveling, just kind of their personal learning, right? And obviously it's a pretty decent size expense to the company to fly people in from all over the southeastern Midwest, over a period of 9 months to teach them about something that they will never go to their joint and do, right? It's just an investment that we make in people. And so one of the things we sort of scratched our head and said, we do this great thing, and it is certainly, an articulation of that A word. So how can we share this with our guests? And so this year, for part of the Pitmaster program, when they were at our office working on some of their techniques, we brought in some influencers and invited them to come in and be part of that and see what we do and learn about what we're doing. And they had a great time, and we had a really good time, and it was fun to see the excitement and enthusiasm from outsiders and really get them to share that story about this investment that we make and how we really want to kind of better our people and kind of deepen their trenches with our company. And just to give you a sense of it, it could be anybody in the company. They don't have to work in a restaurant. We have one guy who's in the Pitmaster program right now who actually works in IT. He just had a passion for it, and so he applied. There's an application process. And he was accepted. So, again, he will never go into a joint and make a brisket, but it's just something to really immerse him further with the company himself. So.
Just kind of looking at your customers for a moment. What strategies do you get both, and this is for both of you, what strategies do you use to tap into returning customers and building loyalty to the next purchase? I realize it's unique for each of you, but I'm interested to know kind of how you're going about it, and certainly that building loyalty is key to the whole thing.
I'm gonna punt on this a little bit because I talked a lot about loyalty this morning. But I think for us, like with KitchenAid, it's about that emotional connection and how we do that. One of the methods that we have for KitchenAid is through color. People are that consumers are very triggered by color in a good way, in a bad way, in a neutral way. But we can use color as a tool in our arsenal to drive loyalty, because that ability to create variety in your kitchen, to decorate your kitchen, to express your style in your kitchen as you're cooking, as you're feeding your family. I know the team that was up here a bit ago with White Castle and El Pollo Loco, and I think it was Bob Evans, talked about like the importance of food, right? Feeding your family and how you're nourishing your community. Similar sentiment, right? And being able to bring your personality to that. Consumers can do that through color. So that's one way that we've been able to drive a loyal fan base, is offering high quality products in a way that you can express yourself.
Yeah, so for us, obviously, totally different sales funnel, right? I mean, it's a fast casual type restaurant, and those of us who are in the restaurant industry, I think we all know it's kind of a turf war out there right now. Value is coming from everywhere. A lot of, reminds me of the old days of the $5 Subway footlong, and kind of what that did to the restaurant industry, which wasn't great. It wasn't great for their business and their franchisees in the long run. But a lot of those things are happening out there, and for us, quite frankly, again, we deliver a very high quality, high touch product. So we're not going to play in the, what can we sell for the lowest possible price, right? It's just really not who we are. So we do have a loyalty program. It's our City Rewards program, and that's, a lot of our bread and butter of what we do in marketing. And, so for us, we're really working hard now to really optimize what we do with that. We have a lot of people in the program. Surprisingly enough, on a per unit basis, we have 70 something units, but on a per unit basis, we have more guests than Starbucks or Chipotle. So we have a lot of people in the program. We get a lot of interest in the program, but we really have to work to harness that to make sure that it is relevant to each guest. So we're really working right now to go through a lot of segmentation journeys to get away from being spray and pray, from sending the same thing to every guest, right? And one thing we're working on right now is really returning the choice to the guest. This is a small example, but our old playbook was kind of business as usual. Was you might be served an offer if you were a member of Rewards. It might be, you guys all know this one, right? It's like National Mac and Cheese Day, so come in for a free mac and cheese. And then we kind of said, well, what if Mac and Cheese Day is when I'm on vacation, or I just ate with you yesterday, or I'm at the beach? It's not convenient for me. So we went to a strategy where we just took those kind of business as usual offers. Instead of saying you can only use it today, we said we're going to tell you everything you can use this month, and you use it whenever you want to use it. Just come in when it's convenient for you. And it was unbelievable, the change in the redemption rate. I mean, it really sort of skyrocketed on those. So really kind of working to make it more impactful for the guest and to sort of return that power to the guest.
Well, Mitch, I realize you talked about the warranty this morning and all your work there. I had to give you a bonus question. Tell us something we don't know about the Maytag repairman.
The Maytag man is like 6'7". So when we're shooting a commercial with him, we're shooting a spot, and when he's like acting like he's the dishwasher, he really is just compressing his body into a really small spot that is where your standard dishwasher would be. So that's the kind of the fun fact, is he's a very tall man, and we have to put him into some very funny positions to get good footage.
Now, Annica, I have a follow-up here on you have got stores in a number of different states. You're selling barbecue that many states call their own, and you're selling them across state lines. So how are you able to sell like North Carolina barbecue in South Carolina or Georgia, and do it in a way that is accepted?
Yeah, it's really interesting because barbecue is highly, highly regional. Actually, our brand position is the flavors of America. So we believe, and what we've done is really taken the best style of every region, and we don't want to serve, just exclusively a Carolina barbecue. We want to take the best of what we believe is from that region and serve that. And so you'll notice on our menu, we sell things from a lot of different areas where we believe it to be the best iteration, like maybe a St. Louis cut rib, for example, versus like a baby back. That's our choice that we feel makes the best possible rib. It's kind of interesting because we did some PMix work recently, And we have a sandwich that's a Carolina gold mine and has a mustard Carolina sauce, a couple of proteins, very good, sold very well. And just, we were thinking about it, like, how does it sell in Carolina versus the rest of the system? Actually sells more in the rest of the system than it does in Carolina, which, you know, for us, I think is a great insight because it tells us that our guests are likely quite food curious about other regionalities, right? Maybe, you know, maybe they've had that all their life, and so it's not new news to them. But something like a Texas-style sausage might be more of interest to them. So we believe that our credibility is in serving the best possible product kind of across those platforms, regardless of regionality.
Thank you. That was great. Here's another topic that comes up at a lot of these brand innovators summits, influencer marketing. It's often cited as important and core to marketing campaigns and specifically to create earned media. Mitch, Whirlpool has a relationship with Jennifer Garner. That's significant. How is this used in your company? Maybe not in your segment, but across the divisions. And I'll ask Annica the same thing. How do you use influencer marketing and in your approach on a state basis?
Well, I think when we think about inserting your brand into culture, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. And again, influencer marketing is it's a tool, it's a lever to pull to bring your brand into a cultural moment. We do have a partnership with Jennifer Garner. Her partnership with is exclusive with KitchenAid, right? So we don't use her across the enterprise, right? That's not the purpose or the functionality of that relationship. KitchenAid is a partner of her Pretend Cooking show, which she hosts on Instagram. So Jennifer's role in our strategy is truly as an influencer partner. We don't use her, we don't work with her like Capital One does, right? She's not a spokesperson. We're not filming commercials with her. We're creating fun, timely, relevant, culturally relatable social media videos as an influencer partner. But she's also a piece of that puzzle. So you'll see a new post go live on Monday featuring a product. I won't say which product. But that also translates to additional influencer content that we're putting into market, right? So she is a megaphone for that product, that initiative, that campaign, at the very top of like that pyramid. But then we also surround that content with additional influencer content to drive consideration, to drive preference, using that product, using similar types of recipes, similar types of making, all the way down to micro-influencers. So while yes, we do work with Jennifer and she's a piece of that puzzle, there's a whole other arsenal of influencer content that we're also putting into market to continue to reinforce that message just in a different way. And then what we have found is that we do pre-test influencer content before we put it into market so that we have an opportunity to optimize that so that it works hardest for us. And then we also do brand lift studies on all of our influencer content that we put in the market. So while we pre-test it and we optimize it so we feel really comfortable with that investment, we also test it and how it performed in market, to understand if there's any differences from pre-testing to that post-exposure, but then also help our decision-making moving forward, right? Maybe it was the right influencer, but for the wrong campaign. Maybe their audience just didn't resonate with that type of product. So it helps us, it helps guide us in our decision-making for future iterations of influencer campaigns.
So probably not a surprise, we don't have anyone like Jennifer Garner. We have a tiny little budget, we're kind of a small regional brand. We do use influencers. We have a restaurant opening next week in Florida. We had an influencer event there last night where we invited in community influencers. We're definitely on the micro-influencer scale for a couple reasons. First, budget is one, certainly that governs it, but also for us, we're really invested in making sure that we really ingrain ourselves in the community. So having that more of a swarm of local community people really kind of fits again into our brand culture and who we are as a brand. One fun thing that we did last summer, we had a campaign called Dog Days of Summer. A couple of things, we wanted to highlight that our patios are pet friendly, and then we also did where a consumer could come in, drop off a new pet toy. We partnered with local animal shelters and they got a discount. So it was a really kind of a fun, feel-good thing. And for that one, we actually hired a dog influencer. It was one of our more successful influencer campaigns, I think, probably to date, but yes, got a lot of views. But so just an example of something that might seem a little outside the box for a restaurant company, but actually worked out pretty well.
Well, my dogs watch television, so who knows? I'm going to take a moment just to open it up. Any questions from the audience? Yep, go ahead. Yep.
You're working with influencers as a regional brand, right? Like influencers kind of span oftentimes. How do you manage that, when you're looking at a regional audience?
Yeah, so a couple of ways. Our agency helps us sometimes on certain things, like when we have an LTO in market, they'll kind of source those people. And then we have an internal resource who is also just kind of out there combing the internet, and then some come inbound to us as well. Frankly, a lot of them we don't pay, we do trade. Some we do pay, depending on it, if it seems like that's going to work. But combination of inbound, of scraping, and then agency deliverables too. And that's one of the things we were talking about. I do, I love influencers, and I think it's great, but it's really labor intensive, right? Because even if you have an agency, you're still looking at those people yourself, making sure that that they fit what you're doing and what you're talking about. And so yeah, that's one thing I would say is it's a tremendous amount of work.
I can't reach you.
So on the Whirlpool side for KitchenAid, how much of your conversation focuses on your core, like your mixer, versus attachments, and then how much do those attachments drive loyalty?
I was
wondering the same thing.
So the question was, as we kind of frame up our annual strategy, how do we choose to focus on stand mixer, and what does that investment look like from a proportion of total conversation? And then how do we choose, let me know if this is right, how do we choose the attachments that we may feature in, so if you don't know, the stand mixer has attachments that you can connect so you can make fresh pasta, you can make your own sausage, you can make zoodles, etc., all powered by your stand mixer. So it's not just for baking, you can do a whole lot more with your stand mixer. How do we choose what that investment looks like? Good question. So KitchenAid is a brand, as I'm sure you all associate with the stand mixer, right? So our equity is in mixing. Therefore, in the last couple of years, I would say roughly 95% of our small appliance advertising has been around the stand mixer. As we get into the lower funnel, that changes, right? Because we want to drive productivity on a model level at particular retail partners. So, in Shopper, you may see more ads for a grain cooker or KitchenAid Go cordless products. But for big national advertising focus, we have been focusing on stand mixer. This year, we have launched a new line of espresso machine products. We've come up with 4 new models, and so roughly we're about 50-50. We're 50% we're talking about stand mixer, the other 50% we are talking about espresso. But it's also a very different buying approach. So when we launched espresso, Amazon was our launch lead partner. So we fully invested our espresso dollars within the Amazon ad universe because we can still achieve scale for awareness, but we can really close that loop to purchase much faster. And we have seen that proven out. So our sales team loves that, our business team loves that. We love it because then we look like heroes. But on the stand mixer side with attachments, one of the things that we know is true is that consumers, new stand mixer owners, are more likely to buy an attachment or a bowl within the first 30 days of their purchase. Well, I should say within the first 30, we consider it the first 30 days of their purchase, but we only know that they purchase it once they register it on the site. So we will start to serve you attachments and bowl content within your onboarding experience through email, and you'll see that no matter when you register. But we do drive actually dedicated paid media support for bowls, accessories, and attachments in Q4 and Q1 because let's face it, the majority of stand mixers are bought and sold in Q4 because they're being bought for holiday gifts, they're being bought for holiday making. So that's when we see the majority of registrations, that's when we have the largest opportunity to drive conversion on those types of incremental products.
Folks, I think we're running short of time, but thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Annica. Really appreciate it.